So this week was one of the hardest weeks yet as far as day trading since I started my day trade journey. My video on Monday, you guys, if you remember, we talked about how the platform that I'm using, Thinkorswim, went down on Monday, right? So it was nearly impossible to trade. Now, I did manage to take a couple trades later on in the afternoon, I think. But Monday was pretty much shot, right? Tuesday comes around. Guess what? The Thinkorswim platform is down again on Tuesday. And that was really my mistake, was not having a backup plan. I have other brokerage accounts. I have an account with WeBull, which I wouldn't say is a fantastic substitute for Thinkorswim, but I need to fund that account as a backup. I do have Robinhood, but that's like my long-term investing portfolio. So I signed up with Interactive Brokers. I also signed up with TradeStation this week just to have alternative options, right? And when I get the money to fund these accounts, I'll have 1,000 here, 1,000 there, right? So if Thinkorswim is ever down, I can just go over to Interactive Brokers, or maybe Tastyworks as well. I'm looking; they've got great prices for the option commission. But the moral of the story is that we have to take responsibility as a trader. I have to take full responsibility for the obstacles that I'm facing, right? It's not that everything is my fault, but I have to take responsibility for it. And the responsible thing to do is to have backup accounts, right? To have a backup brokerage platform that you can use in case your main one goes down. Now, I like Thinkorswim. I do. I enjoy the platform a lot. Some people say, it's very hard getting orders in and stuff, and so their execution time is a little bit laggy. And it may be true, but their active trader feature is absolutely fantastic. I think Tastyworks is the only brokerage account that has something that even resembles Thinkorswim's active trader feature, because I need that feature to get in and out of these trades, right? Sometimes I'm in these trades for seconds, and you just can't trade like that if you have to put in all these long orders with a stop limit and a take profit number, and you've got to put in all this information. No, I just need to click a button or buy with a hotkey and then sell with a hotkey, right? Or sell with the click of my mouse. For the day trading stuff. So that's why I like Thinkorswim so much. Okay, so you had that going on. Wednesday, the platform was back up and running, but there were still some issues. But it managed to be profitable, right? We're closing the week green. All right, we're closing out green. It feels good. Yesterday, I did take a loss. I took an $80 loss yesterday, and I kind of beat myself up about it. To be honest with you, I was a little emotional about it, because it's not my biggest loss in a day, but I was on this streak where I was like gaining 3%, 4% every single day, and then yesterday I was just on the wrong side of the market pretty much on every trade. And I want to talk about that a little bit too, because in this market, it is very hard to play the short side. I was basically, because I have a strategy for if a stock falls down, right? I have a strategy, which is buying puts, right? And I've figured out how to kind of do this and make money doing that, right? If a stock is falling, I can make money. I don't care if the stock goes up or down or sideways. I'll make money regardless. Or I have a strategy regardless. So I think because I have a strategy to play the short side, I want to implement it. I'm trying to be cute, I guess. I'm trying to I'm doing too much, right? So yesterday on PayPal, the stock went up and up and up and up and up. It wouldn't stop going up. It blasted through one of the supply zones that I had mapped out. And as soon as it blasted through that first supply zone, it started slowing down a little bit, right? It had to rest. And I'm thinking, oh, this is the big pullback, right? It's going to go back down to the demand zone, right? Where it came from that day. So I went ahead and got puts. It's so hard to play the short side of the market because in this market, the stocks just keep going, right? They don't stop. The Fed, of course, is partly responsible because they're pumping a lot of dollars into the market. They're adding liquidity. They're buying assets. They're giving money to the companies themselves so that they can buy their own stock. I mean, it's getting absolutely insane. But to be like eternally bearish and expect, a pullback, it's kind of like back in, I think it was 2010, somebody was telling me, back in 2010, a lot of people were speculating that the market was going to return to the 2009 lows, and it never did. And I think we're in a similar situation where a lot of people are saying, this just can't be possible. The market is way too high. It's overvalued. We're due for a correction. But when you play that, especially, you're day trading from that perspective, it hasn't worked out too good for me, right? I need to be patient, wait for the upswings, and ride those, right? So I lost $80 yesterday, but today we came back with a vengeance, and we had the best day yet. All right, let me show you the P&L real quick. We had the best day yet in the options trading account. So we're up a whopping 10.58%, right? We made $123 today. I'm going to go over the trades. I've got the trades and everything right here that we'll go over briefly. And we're like $8 away from $1,300, right? $1,300. I cannot wait. I know this may seem like an insignificant amount of money to some people. This may seem like kind of, measly gains. But I mean, a 10% gain on the day, that is huge. That is absolutely extraordinary, right? I mean, if I could finagle that a couple of times a month, that would be amazing, right? And cut my losses quick, right? Because that's the trick here, is getting out of the trades that don't work and letting the trades that do work ride. And that's what I did today. I sort of let my winners ride a little bit, which it's been hard for me to do because I'm so like jittery in these trades sometimes, because I'm new. I'm still learning, right, how to spot really good plays. But we came back with a vengeance today. 10.58%, right? Let's just round it up. It's almost 11%. Almost 11% on the day. And nobody can take that from me. The market can take it back, right? And I probably should hold on to it because the market probably wants it back. But I don't intend on giving it back. Okay, I may have a couple of losing days next week, but I'm going to be green next week too. So we're up on the week, right? We're up on the week, green for the week. I was hoping to surpass 1,300 by today. Didn't quite happen. We're almost there, about $8 shy of 1,300. But, I'm not going to cry over it because I came back today. I came back from an $80 loss yesterday and then some, right? And made some money. So I'm still up about 3 or 4%, even, not including yesterday's loss. Like if I didn't have the loss yesterday, I would still have been up like 3 or 4% today, which, that's great. So the consistency is there. Had a little bit of a setback yesterday, but I came back, got it all back, and then some. And this is what trading is all about. And today I did play the short side a little bit. I'm going to show you, but we rejected at a supply zone a couple of times, and yes, I held on to these trades a little bit longer, but I was realistic about the expectations. And I'm glad I got out when I did because PayPal PayPal never did have a big, huge move to the downside. It just kind of was stagnant today. It was very flat, kind of like a consolidation period. But there were some moves to take advantage of. Now, let's go ahead into the chart. We're going to talk about today's trades. I'm not going to go over all the trades from this week, but I gave you a brief synopsis of what happened. But this is how I came back. And I think I want to start trading this way a lot more often, because with some of these smaller stocks like Blink and Neo and Exxon Mobil, I'm spending so much money on individual contracts, because the contracts are like $30-$40 for some of these smaller stocks. Sometimes they're like $60, but I have to pay a small commission fee, right, every time I buy a contract. And sometimes these contracts, they only move $5-$10 at a time. Whereas with these bigger contracts on PayPal, Apple, Facebook, right, on a lot of these tech stocks, you buy one contract for $200 and they'll move $30, $40, $60, right? So loading up on one or two contracts and making $100, and you're paying, less commission fees because you only bought one or two contracts, as opposed to the smaller stocks where, you're buying 5, 10, 15 contracts, and it only moves like $5, $6, $10, whatever. I'm speaking from having a smaller account, right? Under 25,000, obviously. So, anyways, so this is my trade today, okay? And I did I held let me actually say this. I held an option contract overnight, which I shouldn't have done. Which means I kind of was holding on to a loser yesterday. But it was just so late in the day, I was like, all right, I'm just going to hold this overnight and see what happens. And I didn't make money on it, but I got most of my loss back this morning. I did pay about $20 with the theta decay, but the delta was 36 or something, and the stock took a swing to the downside very fast, right? And that really accelerated the delta. And I was able to pretty much get my losses back from yesterday. And I bought more contracts. So just keep that in mind. I did hold a contract overnight, but I bought, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I entered 5 times today. All right. The first entry was right here. Now, this is the minute by minute chart. I was watching this chart, the 5-minute chart. I've been trying to incorporate watching multiple time frames, and then I'll have WeBull open as well, where I can watch other time frames, and I have the VWAP. We were rejecting at this supply zone. You can see I have a supply zone mapped out. Look what it did yesterday, right? It sort of bounced off of this demand zone. And right around here, I was trying to play the short side, and it just didn't happen, right? Because I had another supply zone mapped out here that I had removed because it blasted through. And yesterday, if I had been on the right side of the market and I bought calls down here, which I should have done, I don't know why I was trying to play the short side. I'm an idiot. But if I had bought calls down here, I could have made $1,000 yesterday if I had called that. Right, but it's hard to call these things. I figured we were going to be kind of stagnant and flat today, which is goes into my strategy. But we have this supply zone up here, okay? So a supply zone is basically where institutional sell orders are still out there. And so it immediately got rejected at the open. You can see this. It got rejected at the open. And so I entered right around here, right? This is entry 1. This was 9:35. So not quite at the open, but, close. So at 9:35, I entered. My first exit was down here at 10:14. So we held this for about 40 minutes, right? And I thought there was going to be a more violent move to the downside. There wasn't. I had to sort of wait. Right, it got kind of choppy. I ended up entering right before I entered again, because again, I'm thinking this is going to go down, and it sort of starts reversing on me. But keep in mind, right now it's under the VWAP, and we have a supply zone up here. I was hoping for more of a move to the downside, which I didn't get. Now, when you see the stock, this is PayPal. When you see PayPal go up here, and by the way, I'm buying like 195 puts. The stock managed to get up over the VWAP. Now, I don't have the VWAP on here because I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the VWAP indicator on WeBull, which I don't have open because too many programs are going to slow down my video. But it managed to get over the VWAP, right? That's kind of a bullish sign. But I have this strategy where I'm playing off of the supply and demand zones, right? We've got a huge 4-hour supply zone up here, which means I charted it on a 4-hour chart. So it's a substantial supply zone. There's too much supply. It didn't reach, it wasn't able to hit that opening high of 199.38, I think is what that is. So I held the contracts and I entered again, right? Because I got my average down a little bit. And you're not really supposed to average down. Actually, most of the time you shouldn't average down. But I went ahead and said, okay, I believe this stock is going to go down from here. I was able to get my average down, so I entered 2 more times. This is 4 and 5. And then I start exiting, right? I exit here on 2, 3, and 4. And I should have held it a little bit longer, and I would have made like $200 or $300. But I did. I held on to one contract, and that's kind of part of my strategy is sort of scaling into these trades and then scaling out of them, right? Locking some profit, but letting another one ride, right? Because we've got to exit down here. We've got exit 2, 3, and 4, this circle and this circle right here. And then I held it a little bit longer, right? It almost looked like it was going to reverse on me, but remember, it's now back under the VWAP. And it made that move down, and I sold my last contract. So we made it out alive today. Not only did we get back the loss from yesterday, but we went way past that. And you're talking about, almost an 11% gain on the day. Trading options on PayPal, trading puts. And I was hoping for more of a push to the, because I've seen PayPal go, move $5, $10, and then the very next day, especially on a Friday, move all the way back down. But there's a lot of demand for this. Not only probably institutional demand, but retail investors. There's a lot at play here. But this trade, it took a certain amount of like nimbleness, right? You have to be nimble to get in and out. The pressure is on. When you see the stock starting to reverse on you, right? You're wondering, do I cut my losses here and just try to re-enter? If I really knew what I was doing, in hindsight, I would have entered here, right? I would have waited for this down move, but you just never know, right? It could have gone down, 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 and down, but I probably should have, in hindsight, I should have waited for another attempt to get up past the supply zone and entered there, entered maybe on this red candle right here, right? Or maybe even this red candle. Really wait for it to be under, because you can see it's under the moving average, right? I have a 20-day moving average on this. Entering right here on 4 or 5 contracts. And remember, these contracts cost, up there, they cost probably about $200, $210. But then you're selling them for like almost $300 down here, right? So think about it. You're buying 4 contracts for $200. Let's just say about $200. And then you're selling 4 contracts down here. Or let's say you sell 2 here for $280. Right, so you've made $80 off of 2 of them, $160 right there, and then you hold the other 2 down here and you sell the rest, you make 100 off of those, right? You're looking at like a $400 or $500 day off of basically an upfront cost of $600, $800. So that's the power of options. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. Wanted to share that with you guys because I know there's people that are extremely interested in getting into this and figuring out how to day trade. And you really just got to put in the screen time. You know, that's how I feel about it. Paper trading, it may be okay for a little while just to actually learn the function of, you know, how you're going to trade, like practicing your strategy maybe a couple of times. But you have to have, in my opinion, you have to have your own money, real money, skin in the game, because, you know, it's just a completely different thing when your money's actually on the line, right? There's so many psychological barriers. There's so many, and I still believe like 90% of this is psychological. Like yesterday, not cutting my losing trades, right? Because I was on this winning streak, and I got emotional about the bad trades, right? I made one good trade on ExxonMobil, but then I made a bad trade on ExxonMobil. Then I went to PayPal. I made one bad trade on PayPal. And then that's when I took that other trade that I held overnight from Thursday to Friday on PayPal. And it was just a horrible day of trading, right? I was trading very badly. I was on the wrong side of the market. Market sentiment as well, right? The psychology and your own personal psychology is important, but also market sentiment and really being in tune with what the market is feeling. And you can do that by just leaving the SPY chart up, right? Just watching the SPY almost as if it's like I use it like an indicator. The SPY, index fund or what do they call it? The SPY 500 ETF, I think is what it is. I use it like an indicator, right? Because it's the average of the entire market. And stocks like PayPal, they generally go along with the SPY. So if the SPY is trending up, you definitely don't want to play the short side on PayPal. But today, the reason I bought puts is because I was also watching the SPY, right? It's under the VWAP. It's getting rejected at a supply zone. And the SPY, the SPY, the spiders, is kind of, at the moments where I was entering, the SPY was sort of going down as well. But we got overall kind of a choppy day. Let me see. I actually have the SPY. So that's the SPY right there. SPY, it made some gains. It made, I guess, a decent gain. I don't know how much of a percent it's actually up right now. I guess I'd have to stretch this out to see. It's up 0.35%, right? So that's really nothing. And PayPal is down almost 1% from its opening. And you can see it kind of chopped around for a bit. I got out here, which is probably the best place I could have gotten out, right? I mean, I guess I could have held it for this whole thing, but that would have been an emotional roller coaster, holding for this, up movement and then down. And so I'm glad I got out where I did, And like I said, I was thinking maybe the move to the downside would have been a little bit more volatile, a little bit more violent, maybe a little bit more. But we're in a period of consolidation, which is fantastic, because that means maybe on Monday we'll get a huge side to the upside, or maybe we'll go back down. But, we've got this huge supply zone here. Let me show you on the 4-hour chart. Just a huge zone right here where there are institutional sell orders, and all the buy orders are, well, you have a mini demand zone right here, but then you have this huge demand zone down here. So I have a feeling PayPal will continue to be bullish, but if it's not, I have a strategy for how to play the short. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys. I appreciate you watching the videos, and thank you for the interest. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comment section down below. Today was definitely the biggest day that I've had. Yeah, a 10% gain in one day trading options. Never done that before. I know I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to be patient. I'm going to take things in stride. I think as far as my strategy is concerned, I'm going to focus less on these smaller stocks and focus on more like PayPal, Facebook, Apple, Square. Buy the contracts that cost $200 or $300, make 3-4 trades a day. Right, because the other thing with the smaller stocks is when you're loading up on contracts and you're buying them at different times and stuff, it's very hard to then put all that in a spreadsheet, which I'm still doing. I'm still tracking all of my trades. But focusing on these bigger stocks, being more patient and really waiting for the up movement, just buying calls and waiting for the up movement. If I'd done that yesterday, I could have made $1,000, $2,000. I don't know how much I would have made. I wish I would have done it, right? Instead of always being like the eternal bear and saying to yourself, "Oh, the market has to come down." The market doesn't look like it's coming down. It's completely divorced from the economy. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And of course, still doing the options, right? That's a part of the strategy. I would like to get in and out of these trades even quicker. The last few days, last week or so, I've been holding on for a half an hour at a time and making more of like a day trade out of it. I really want to scalp these. Not getting so hung up on the loss, right? If I'm in a losing trade, just cut it, get out, and just re-enter. If I get 4 trades a day, right, buying one contract each trade, if I had 3 losers and cut them immediately, that one winner, let it ride, right? It would make up for all 3 of the losers. And, if you're paying attention to the moving average, if you're paying attention to the VWAP, if you're mapping out your supply and demand zones, like all of these techniques in my strategy, it does make it hard to be on the wrong side of the market. Yesterday was kind of a fluke where I was on the wrong side of the market. I've been doing very well. So, all of that I'm going to be keeping in mind, not beating myself up about the loss, right? I should be able to walk away after 2 or 3 trades, and be like, okay, I took a loss today, right? Not be emotional about it. I think that'll come with time. I think it's a lot of my ego too, right? I have a very big ego, and, it's hard for me to just follow my rule, right? I say to myself, oh, maybe I should just double down on this now, right? I can't tell you how many times I've done that and had to talk myself out of that. As far as what I'm expecting next week, probably still a pretty bullish week, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Let me know. Leave your thoughts down below. What are you trading? What's your style of trading or investing? Are you long-term investing? What equities are you trading or putting your money in? Where are you putting your money? I want to know. So comment down below. Give the video a big fat like. Follow me all over social media. We're on Bitchute. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. And thank you so much for your support. As always, this is CMC Broadcasting. I'll see you next time. God bless.